Hi, boys. Welcome to Tuesday, February 2nd. Today's a little different because I am teaching from my house, so you don't see the back of our circle time. So I just wanted to let you know it's a little different today. All right, I'm going to go over this lesson pretty quickly, our scholastic lesson. Because of the snow, we're a day behind, so I'm just going to touch base on the things that you should have done on Tuesday, and when you have time, you can go back to them. And there's a scholastic video that goes with this lesson. So today, as I said, we're going to do the Let's Find Out. We're going to talk about our shadow. We have two worksheets that we need to take care of today, and it's, do you see my shadow? And the other one is unscramble the sentences. So you're going to need your crayons and you're going to need your scissors today. So that's the scholastic. We're going to work on our letter X. That's the letter of the week. X marks the spot. Ox, box, and fox all have X in their names. And X is a pretty simple letter. Because we use it as a letter and we also use it to mark things when we talk about pirate ships or treasure maps. X marks the spot. So we're going to work on this worksheet, and then we're going to do a listening skill today. Listening activity, Mingo sees a groundhog. So I want to start with this worksheet, Mingo sees a groundhog, because this is a pretty important listening skill that we have to do. So we've done this before. We need to have our a marker or a crayon. Michelle is going to read the story 2 times, and then we have 4 questions that we're going to answer, and then we have a bonus question on the bottom. Okay, so I just want you to do your best. Put your listening ears on, and I'm going to read it 2 times, and then we're going to answer some questions, okay? Mingo sees a groundhog. Mingo goes outside to find a groundhog. First, he sees a bird. Then he sees a squirrel. Finally, Mingo sees a groundhog running away. Come back, shouts Mingo. All right, one more time, boys. Mingo sees a groundhog. Mingo goes outside to find a groundhog. First, he sees a bird. Then he sees a squirrel. Finally, Mingo sees a groundhog running away. Come back, shouts Mingo. All right, so now let's find our number 1. And remember, we're going to go across in the row. And our number 1 question says, what does Mingo want to find? Does Mingo want to find a dog, a groundhog, or a bird? We have to choose the answer. What does Mingo want to find? And you're going to circle your answer. And then we're going to go to number 2. And our number 2 question asks, what does Mingo see first? What does Mingo see first? Does he see a squirrel, a groundhog, or a bird? What does Mingo see first? What does Mingo see first? And then we're going to go down to number 3. And the question is, what does Mingo see next? Does he see a squirrel, a cat, or a mouse? What does Mingo see next? And you're going to circle your answer, a squirrel, a cat, or a mouse. Okay, and then down to number 4. Let's look for our 4. And our question is, what does Mingo say to the groundhog? Mingo says, come back, or Mingo says, hello. What does Mingo say to the groundhog? Come back or hello? And you're going to circle the right answer. The first one is come back. The second one is hello. So you're going to circle the right answer. Okay, our bonus question on the bottom says, another name for groundhog is a woodchuck. Circle the name that you like better. So what would you like our friend to be called? A woodchuck? Here's woodchuck. Or a groundhog. It says another name for groundhog is a woodchuck. Circle the name that you like better. Do you like the word groundhog better or woodchuck better? And there's no right or wrong answer here, boys. It's whatever you prefer. Okay, and before we're done our listening activity, of course, we're going to put our names on the top. Make sure you put your name on the top so Miss Sheila can see your hard work and know that it belongs to you. Okay, good job, boys. And Mom and Dad, I would like to see this. So if you could take a picture and send it to me, that would be great. All right, boys, let's move on to our X. The letter X. Ox, box, and fox all end with the letter X. I'm going to write those on the paper just so you can see. All right, and you see how they all end with X. We're making our X. We're starting at the top and going down, starting at the top and going down. That's our capital X, top to bottom. And then when we make our lowercase x, we're doing the same motion. We're just making it smaller. So top to bottom, top to bottom, top to bottom, top to bottom. And we look over here at our lowercase, top to bottom, top to bottom, top to bottom, top to bottom. And when you're done for your coloring time, you can color in your ox and your box and your fox. And your name on the top. I like to see at least 4 of each, your uppercase and your lowercase. I like to see 4 of each, at least. But you can practice more if you want. Okay, so I'm gonna ask you to pause the video now and watch your Scholastic video on Do You See a Shadow? And when you're done watching that, come back on and we're going to continue to talk about this. Okay, on a sunny day, you might see a shadow. A shadow looks like a dark shape. Can you point to this girl's shadow? So here's the little girl and her shadow is behind her. All right, let's open up our booklets and see what we have. Can you point out the shadows? All right, let's start over here. Look at this puppy dog running in the snow. And there's the dog. And there's his shadow. And you can see up here, there's the sun. So it says, if something blocks the light, it makes a shadow. A dog blocked the light and made a shadow. And the light is coming from the sun. So the dog blocked the light of the sun to make the shadow. Move on to the bird blocked the light. Can you point to his shadow? Look at his big wings. And look at the shadow that he makes on the ground from the sun. And down here, a swing blocked the light. Can you point out the shadow? And see, you can see her feet right here, but the light is behind her, so that is her shadow. All right, I'm gonna move on to the other side. And it says a tree blocked the light. Can you see the shadow? You can see the big tree, the sun's over here, and then you can see the shadow. And let's look down at our horse. A horse blocked the light. Can you see his shadow? And can you point that out, boys? Here's our horse. The light's coming down this way, so the horse is blocking it, and there is his shadow. Awesome. Awesome. All right, so let's go to our 2 worksheets. One says unscramble the sentence, and the other says show what you know. Do you see your shadow, the shadow? So I want you to put your name on the top of the first one. Show what you know. Do you see your shadow? We're going to do this first while it's fresh in our mind, because we just watched the video and we just read our booklet. All right, so let's find number 1. Let's point to number 1. And where would you see more shadows? Do you think you would see more shadows on a sunny day or on a cloudy day? Now, if we put our thinking caps on and we think back to what we just read and the video that we just listened to, it said in here, on a sunny day, you might see a shadow. A shadow looks like a dark shape. Can you see the shadow in this picture? And then if we look over here, back into our booklet where our puppy dog is, it says, if something blocks the light, it makes a shadow. And when we looked at all these pictures of shadows, we noticed that the sun was out. So if we want to make a shadow, or you have a better chance of seeing a shadow, we would want it to be a sunny day. So we're going to circle that whole thing, the sun and the words under it that say on a sunny day. Good, great job. Let's go to the second one. Look at these shadows. And our question for number 2, remember you're finding number 2. Draw a line to connect each animal with their shadow. So I am going to say the word, and then you're going to point to the shadow. So we're going to start with bird. Can you find the shadow that a bird would make? So I spy a bird shadow here. So I'm going to take my pen or my crayon and go from the word bird, and I'm going to draw a line to the shadow of a bird. I'm going to use pink because pink and red are the color of the month in February. So here's my word bird, and I'm going to draw a line to my shadow of a bird. The next word that comes up is horse. Horse. So we're going to look at our shadows and pick out our horse, and we're going to draw a line from the word horse. Let me see if I could do this with, and I'm going to go down to here to the horse. I'm going to make that darker so you can see it. So the shadow of the horse. All right, our next shadow is a dog. A dog. Here's the word dog. So let's find the shadow of a dog. Can you spy that? Good, good. Here's our dog. So we're going to make a line from the word dog to the shadow of a dog. Try to get a picture of Tessa and Bella when they're outside tomorrow and show you their shadow. Hopefully it'll be sunny tomorrow. All right, our last word is cat. Cat begins with a C, cat, and we need to find the shadow of a cat. So I know that you have cats, so you're probably much better at this than I am. Can you spy the cat? Very good, very good. So we're going to take a line from the word cat and draw it over to the shadow of the cat. Good, good job, boys. Let's look at number 3. You might need some help with this, or mom and dad, if you just want to lightly write the words and then the boys can trace it, whatever works. But it says, label this picture. Use the words in the box. So here's the words in the box. They're dog, light, and shadow. And then here's where the words are going to go. So what word describes the sun? What word describes this animal? And what word describes what we see on the ground here? So let's start with the sun. And our choices are dog, light, or shadow. And we've learned through the video and through our booklet that the sun is light. The sun is light. So I'm going to put underneath the sun the word light. I'm also going to cross it out over here in my word bank so I know that I used it. So I'm crossing it out here and I'm writing it down here. Now if we look over here, the two words we have left to choose from are dog and shadow. And we can see this is a picture of our dog. So we're going to write dog in here. And then our last word from our word bank is shadow. And you can see that the dog is blocking the sun, so he's making a shadow. So our word shadow would go down here. All right, and there you have it. Very good job. All right, and our last unscramble the sentence. We're going to use our scissors and we're going to cut the bottom. All right, and then we're going to cut out our words. The words shadow, my, I, and see. So we're going to have 4. They're probably going to end up being all rectangles, 2 long sides, 2 short sides. Although I do see some squares in here. So maybe 2 rectangles, 2 long sides, 2 short sides, and 2 circles. You know what I don't have, boys? I don't have my glue stick home. So I'm going to get some tape right here. I know I have some tape. I'm going to use tape. So I'm going to put my name on the top. All right, and I'm asking you to unscramble the sentence. So right here it says glue the words here. All right, so we know that a sentence starts with a capital letter. So a word with a capital letter. So let's look what we have. We have a capital I. We have C. We have a my and a shadow. So we know that the first word in this sentence, because it's capitalized, is I. And we're going to glue that right here on the beginning of our sentence. So that leaves us with 3 words. I, and then we have shadow, see, my. Now, what do we think? I shadow, I my, or I see? Yeah, you are correct. Good job. I see. So next, we're going to put this word on there. So I see. I see shadow. I see my. What do we think? It could either be I see shadow my or I see my shadow. Does that make sense? I see shadow my or I see my shadow. I see my shadow. Good. All right. You guys are you're going to be using glue sticks probably. I just don't have a glue stick at home. Well, in front of me right now. So I'm just going to use my masking tape. All right. And there we go. There we have our sentence. So we cut out our words. We glued our words, I see my shadow, and now we're going to write our words. And we're just going to do the best that we can on the bottom of this area right here. And we're going to write I see my shadow. Now remember, boys, we're doing our best work, all right? And we're learning and we're practicing. So we're just taking our time. We're copying the sentence that we just put together, I see my shadow, and we're writing it down here. The fourth thing they're asking us to do is color. So during coloring time, they're asking that we color our picture in. Okay, I see my shadow. And in this picture, you can see her shadow and you can see her puppy dog's shadow. Because look, they're blocking the sun. And when you block the sun or when you block light, you make a shadow. All right, awesome. The last thing that we have to do today, I know I'm giving you throwing a lot of work at you, aren't I? It's Groundhog Day. And if you watched the news this morning, you could see that the groundhog came out, popped his head out, and he said, whoa, first of all, he said, this is too chilly willy. I'm going to go back to sleep. But before he did, he told us if there was going to be, we're going to have early spring or 6 more weeks of winter. And guess what? With snow on the ground, no surprise, our groundhog told us that we have 6 more weeks of winter. So our silly groundhog, I gave you I'm not sure if I gave you this picture or a different groundhog, but whichever groundhog I gave you, you're going to take some time and color it. I only have markers. I don't know where my crayons are. But I would take a brown or a gray marker if I had one. I have every color but, guys. You guys see all these colors I have here. But anyway. Oh, I found one. Okay, brown. And you're going to take your brown marker and you can just start coloring in your groundhog. This is a really dark marker, so I'm not going to do much more because you're not going to be able to see it. But take your crayon or your marker and color your groundhog. And then I gave you this cup because it's so much fun, because you can put him in, and then when he pops up, he's popping out of his burrow and he's checking to see if he sees his shadow to decide whether there's 6 more weeks of winter or an early spring. And if you take this outside, maybe you can even make his shadow, and then you can go back into his burrow. So on our Zoom call tomorrow, we're actually going to make a burrow for our groundhog. And remember, in our last Zoom call, I told you to invite your brothers to help with that, because we're going to use toilet paper rolls and we're going to use some paper bags and some tape to make our burrow, because it's in our directions. It tells us that we need a sleeping area, we need an entrance and an exit. So they're all things that we're going to need for our burrow tomorrow. All right, so thinking caps on. Do your best work when you're doing your coloring too. Take your time. That unscramble sentence is a little tricky, so ask mom or dad to help you with that. And especially when we're writing our sentence, it's a little tricky. So I can't wait to see your work. I know it's going to be super duper. All right, boys, have a good day, and I will see you tomorrow for Wednesday's lesson, and I'll see you for our Zoom call. Bye-bye.